guys, welcome to my art channel. Thanks for stopping by to make some art with me. For more free art lessons, you could press the button below and subscribe right there on that red button. And I will see you really soon. Now let's get to making some art. Bye-bye. This is part 2 of pop-ups. So today we are going to do 2 more pop-ups, and then we're going to take our pop-up books that we've been working on and we're going to make them into one beautiful book. Get your supplies together and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so the first fold that we're going to do today, or the first pop-up we're going to do today, is called an external V-fold. Now we've done a couple of V-folds in the last video. V-folds are really versatile and they're used in many ways and shapes and forms in pop-up books. So this is just another one. This is an external one, and it looks something like when you open the pop-up, it just pops up fully like that. Okay, and it's a V-fold because if you turn it this way, you can see the V. Here is another example of a V-fold. Pops right up, and if you turn it, it's a V. Now it's external because you're seeing all the external parts, and if you can look inside, we're going to be working on these little tabs in here. Okay, so the way to do your external V-fold is you need a piece of paper that's about 5.5 by 5.5 inches, a nice little square. Okay, and what you're going to do with that square is you're going to fold it in half. And remember, folding neatly and making a nice crease on top. When you're done with that fold, you are going to take the bottom, and I think I made a line here so you can see, get an idea, just a little bit of the bottom. You're going to fold it upwards, make a nice crease. That's going to be the tabs that you're actually going to glue down, okay? When you do those, when you have that fold, you're going to open it up like this, and you're going to fold those tabs inside. So I'm going to flip this one. And I'm going to fold it inside so it looks like that, okay? And then I'm going to fold the whole sheet together. Now you can't see the tabs. And this is what I'm going to use to make my pop-up. Now something really important with the external V-fold is the top part, which is the one that has a fold, that has the fold. You don't want to cut all of it because this is what holds your piece together, okay? So you're not going to cut the whole thing. And what I did is I already drew a picture on here, and I'm going to cut it out. But notice that I left this whole area here because I'm not going to cut it. So I'm going to cut out my little design. And I'm going to leave that top portion there because I want it to hold together. Now on the bottom, you have to go all the way down to the bottom because you have those flaps inside. So I'm going to make my legs go all the way to the bottom. So I have some flaps. Okay, so I cut it out like that. So if you open it up, I have that flap down there, and it's still attached on top. Okay? So you're going to take your 8.5 by 5.5 sheet and fold it into a booklet. And I put a line in here. That line is the crease in the middle of the booklet. It's also called the galley. When you make this pop-up, it's very important to glue it, glue the tab, that bottom tab, right up to the galley and not over it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to add a little glue. And I'm going to glue it right up to that galley or that middle crease in the book. Okay, so right now it looks like this. And I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to fold it over and I'm going to glue it right up to that crease over there. Just like that. So I will be able to now close it, and when it opens up, it will pop up, just like that. And that's your external V-fold. Our next fold is a little bit more complex. It's called a paper chain fold. Okay, and actually it's also a V-fold, as you can see, but you've actually made paper chains before, probably around Christmas time when you made maybe gingerbread paper chains, if some of you have done that. Again, this is a double paper chain. It's Monkeys in the Jungle, and you can see it's that V-fold again. So what you're going to need for this is another sheet of 8.5 by 5.5 paper, and then your outside, two 8.5 by 5.5 papers, basically, okay? And what I'm going to do is show you how to make the accordion fold that makes the paper chain. So you're going to take your 8.5 by 5.5 paper. You're going to fold it in half like this. Make a nice crease. Then you're going to take this side of the paper and you're going to fold it to match that top fold like that. You're going to turn it around and you're going to fold this paper up to match that top over there. And see, this is an accordion fold, okay, or a fan fold. So it's going to go like that because this is going to be the paper chain, okay? So why don't you make yourself a fold, and I'll be back in 1 minute. Okay, so once you have your fold, you're going to draw a picture on the front. Now I want you to notice something about this picture. The parts that are touching either end of the papers, either side of the papers, okay, those are areas where I'm not going to cut because that's what's going to connect each fish or each paper length to the other one, okay? So I'm going to cut this real quickly and show you. Okay, so I'm not going to cut, I'm going to cut the little mouth out, but I'm going to leave the other things. Those are like the joints that keep the paper links together. Okay. Now the more you do these and the more you practice, the more complex type of designs you can make. These are kind of simple fish designs for now. Okay. So I left both sides intact. And let's open it up and hope that it worked. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to stop the video for 1 second. I'm going to draw the rest of the faces and I'll be right back. So I'm back. I did all the faces. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, because I did it on the wrong side, but we're going to fold it so the middle piece is going up. We're going to fold the side pieces going up like that. Okay? And now what we're going to do is glue it to the paper. So when you glue it, the most important thing is that this crease here lines up with the crease or that galley in the middle of the booklet, okay? You're only going to glue the end two pieces, so I'm only going to glue the end two fish, so watch closely. Put some glue on just my end fish. I'm going to line it up. I'm going to put the corner, not the corner, the crease on top of the crease. Make sure it's exact, and then I'm going to push that down. You can see that I could still lift up my fish, and now I'm going to do the same with the other end. Make sure that the center is lined up and push it down. And when I open my card, it's going to pop up. Now I'm just going to fold my card and get a better crease going in there. And here you have it. Baby sharks. Dun, 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 dun. Baby shark. Dun, dun. Okay. And there's your V-fold. Whoops. There we go. All right, guys. We're going to get our stuff together so we can make our pop-up books now. I'll be right back. And we are back, ready to put our books together. So the first thing that you need to do is figure out how many pop-ups you made. Okay, I have here, I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus this one, 6 pop-ups. So for 6 pop-ups, what I want to do for each pop-up is first put it into an extra booklet. This is just going to make our books more sturdy so the pop-ups have a longer life. And I'm going to first show you how to mount all your pop-ups that you've done into your second booklet. Now, this I'm using is actually cardstock. If you have it, great, use it. If not, and you only have construction paper or you only have printer paper, whatever you have is fine. We'll work with it. So again, you're going to make this 8.5 by 5.5. Okay, and for each pop-up that you have, you are going to make a booklet. So 8.5 by 5.5, and then you're going to fold it in half with a nice crease. Okay, so that's the first thing you're going to do. You're going to take your pop-ups. This is the sheep that I did, and we're going to mount it into the book. So when I say mounting, what we're actually doing is just gluing our artwork into the book, and we want to do it as neatly as possible. Okay, I'm going to just glue one side of my book and try and get the corners the best that you can so your artwork, the corners of your artwork don't pop up. Okay, make sure that you're putting it in the right way. The fold goes into the fold. Okay, and I'm going to push it down. So now I've mounted one side. Okay, it makes it just a little bit stronger. And I'm going to do that on the second side. Oops, I didn't work on my paper, I made a mess. Just going to push it down. And then here I have made just like another sturdy little booklet. Okay, so oops. So the next thing that you're going to do after you mount, see that? You got to get your corners. Let me get my corners so I can show you a good example. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to collect, you're going to do this to all your pop-up pages, and then when you're ready, you're going to collect your pages, and you're going to put them in the order that you want to put them in a book. Okay? Like that. Okay, so I've mounted all my pages, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I'm going to actually move it over so you can see how I'm going to put the pages together. So you're going to take your first 2 pages, And you're going to mount them, you're going to glue them together like that. So if you were to turn the book, you would see the pages, okay? So you're going to close the covers and you're going to put the spines. These are actually called the book spines, okay? On the outside, when they're a book, they're called spines. You're going to put them together. You're going to take your glue, make sure you get the corners. Okay, and I'm going to glue my two things together. So now, when I open the book, okay, I have my two pages together. And I'm going to continue to do this with my next one. So here's this page and this page. I'm going to use glue. I'm going to glue the corners. You want a nice amount of glue, but you don't want, if you're using liquid glue, you don't want it blobbing out the sides. So just try and be neat with it. I'm going to line them up. Oops. Okay, so now I have my 3 pages together. Okay, and I'm going to continue to do this. So I want you to start working on it. I'm going to do one more page for you, and then you're going to do it on your own. Ready? I'm going to glue. I'm going to make sure I get the corners. I'm going to glue it together. I'm going to press it together. And now I have 4 pages. So you keep on going. I have to let the dog in because I hear him crying outside, and I will be right back. Hey guys, so right now you should have your book together. Kind of looks something like this. Okay. And now I want to show you how to put a binding on the book. If you look at regular books, I don't have any right here, there's always a binding that helps keep the book together, because right now we have our spine is still open even though we glued it. So what I'm going to suggest when we do the binding is that you take, if you have these big clips, this is really helpful. You put one on the top and you put one on the bottom, and it helps keep everything together. If you don't have that, you can rubber band everything together also, just to keep things a little bit tighter. Now there's 2 ways that you can bind the book. If you have duct tape, some kind of duct tape, I'm going to do that first, and if you don't have duct tape, I'm going to show you how to make a binding without it. So let's see if I can set this up a little bit. So I'm going to take a piece of duct tape. I'm going to measure it just a little bit bigger than the binding. I'm going to rip it off, and I am just going to find that edge, which is our spine. And I'm going to put half of the binding, half of the tape right on top. I'm going to fold it over, and when I'm folding it over, I'm going to squish all these papers together the best that I can so I can get it in there tightly, like that. Okay, see how I did that? And then I'm going to trim off the edges. Oops. Which is a little hard with these clips here. There we go. So now I should be able to take off the clips and fix my binding a little bit. And there you have your book binding. And that will help keep it together. Okay, I'm going to open it up. I'm going to trim it a little bit. I see it needs a little bit more trimming, and that's fine. And it probably needs it on the bottom. Okay. And there you have it. You have, I'm sorry, I used metallic tape here. You have your book, your pop-up book, and it's all glued together. And there you go. Now, if you don't have duct tape, not a problem. What you can do is, if you can put any type of tape here, if you have masking tape, just to help make this a little bit tighter fitting, that would be great. Okay? If not, we got to use what we have, right? So I have a piece of paper. It's about 3 inches wide, and it's 5.5 inches long. This is scrap paper, sorry. It's the same size as the book, but it's 3.5 inches wide. So what you could do with this, if you want, you can even make a fancy binding. You can, if you have fancy scissors, or if you want to just cut out some interesting design, you can actually trim the edges of this piece of paper. Okay, just to give it some interesting design there. And what you're going to do is fold it in half. You're going to fold it in half. You're going to take your glue stick. You're going to glue on one side of the inside. Just make sure you glue it really, really well. You're going to need a lot of glue for this one. Don't worry if you go over on the glue. Whoops, I went over on the glue. Okay. You're going to take the one half that you glued, and you're going to put it on the top of the book. And you want your fold to match up with the side of the book. See how I did that? I'm going to just... Okay. And then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to fold it over, and I'm going to glue it to this side of the book, to the back side. Okay, I try to glue over in one area, otherwise it makes a sticky mess all over the table. So I'm going to pull that, and I'm going to smooth it out and make it as smooth and neat as possible, and that's going to give me another nice binding for my book. And here you have it, guys. You have your pop-up book. So you might want to make a title on the book. Let's see. And there's your book. Hope you guys had a good time making pop-up books. I'm going to leave you my email address. I would love it if you can send me pictures and show me what you guys did. Okay, hope you had fun, and I will see you next week. Have a good one. Bye-bye.